Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwalben's Nest. Welcome to my Christmas series. This sign is made out of two pieces of scrap wood. I had a 10-inch wide piece of plywood. I wanted to make an 18-inch round. So what I did was take it out to my jigsaw and cut two half circles, as you see here. And now I'm going to glue them together. Of course, I'm using my Weld Bond glue because that is the best ever. I'm adding some extra glue because this is just rough cut plywood and the seams don't blend together really tightly. I'm also going to be using some painter sticks and making this extra supportive. I'm just going to cut them to size because I don't need them as long as they are. So I'm just going to cut down that little curved piece using my miter shears. Now, these miter shears are amazing, but these paint stir sticks are really tough. So what I do is I squish down as hard as I can, I make a mark, and then I flip it around and just keep cutting in the same area until I have an opportunity to just snap off the end. I'm going to start by adding more of my Weld Bond glue, but I'm also going to use some hot glue so I can continue working on my project while the Weld Bond glue sets. I'm going to flip the sign over and add some extra Weld Bond glue to the seam on the front as well. I'm using some wood filler to fill in the seam and make it more smooth. There's also a knot here that had quite a bit of a chunk missing out of it, so I'm going to fill that in as well. Once the wood glue was dry, I was afraid that the color of it would seep through the white that's going to be right on this seam, so I did take some of the dry Dex spackle. I put a decent amount on the side where the seam is and also the top, and now I'm just sanding it smooth. To help get off the excess dust, you can just use a damp rag. I just happen to have a baby wipe on hand, so I'm just using that to clean up the sign and make sure that there isn't anything that will interfere with applying the paint. So if any of you are wondering why I did the wood filler and the spackle, this is why. I cut my half circles a little bit wonky on one side, so I want to use that side as where the bow and the embellishments are going to be, so I had to turn the sign this way, and I wanted to make sure that when I paint it, it's not going to have any of the wood filler showing through. Here I'm just masking off where the white space on the sign is going to be, just using some painter's tape. This piece of plywood is fairly rough. You can see the grooves in it. I want to make sure that I get all of the paint in all of the cracks. So for this first coat, I'm going to go side to side across my project. For the second coat, I'm going to go up and down, and that's just going to ensure that I'm going to get complete full coverage with two coats. That's something you can do on all of your projects. It doesn't just have to be with wood, and that is what I do. If I'm going to be distressing something, I just make sure that the brush strokes are in the right direction for when I want to add some distress lines. Other than that, I just switch my direction for each coat. The inspiration for this came from a customer. I'm making this sign for her, and the bottom and the top of the sign that she wanted were stained with like a dark walnut stain. Now, because I put spackle on here and there's two pieces joined together, I don't have the opportunity to just give this a quick stain. I have to do something different. So I'm going to do a faux wood technique, which is starting off with a white base. And once this is dry, I'll be going on it with another color. So this is the technique that I learned from another YouTuber a couple of years ago, and it works really well. I'm using a rough brush, the roughest one you have. This is my little chippy brush, and I'm using a very light touch. The stain I'm using is just an Americana Gel Stain in dark walnut, and I'm brushing it on very lightly because I want to see all of the brush strokes. I've done this wood stain technique on jars, on plates, on other wood pieces. So when you do it like this with the white background first, you have all sorts of options to create fake wood stain. Here's a close-up look of what the faux wood stain looks like. I think it's an amazing way to do wood if it's not a wood project or the wood itself is not really a good one to use. Look at all those lines and brush strokes. It's perfect. This last section of wood is going to be painted red. I'm using the color Romance from Americana Decor chalk paint. I went to my Cricut and I designed a Merry Christmas the way the inspiration photo is, but I wanted to save on vinyl. So I ended up splitting the word Christmas into two words so I could get it a little bit closer together. I'm kind of frugal when it comes to vinyl because it is a little expensive and I want to make sure I can use every little bit of those sheets. So I'm just going to use some painter's tape and tape the two pieces of backing together, and then I'll go ahead and use my transfer tape to put it on the sign. Another way to save when you're using some vinyl is to use the transfer tape from the dollar stores. Now, this is just regular clear contact paper and it works really, really well. It doesn't have a huge amount of stick, which is awesome because then it doesn't tear off any of your paint. I'm going to lay this down towards the bottom of the white portion of the sign because I still have the word Merry to put on top. As usual, I'll have this available as a free printable on my website. If you are new to that, there are instructions in my description box on how to access this. If you are new to my channel, I would love it if you could hit that red subscribe button. It really helps support my channel and helps me grow. Now we're going to move on to decorating the sign, but first I've got to make my little picks. So I'm taking some of these red piperies and I'm just going to be cutting them down and gluing a few of them together. And then I'm going to add some additional round holly berries to make this look a little bit more like a strand of berries. Then I'm going to add a few leaves of boxwood, and that will be my pick. Now comes the bow making part. If you've watched my channel before, you know, number one, I'm not really a bow fan. I'm actually moving over to that side though, because I think they're starting to look pretty cute. I'm just going to take some of this buffalo check ribbon, fold it over a few times, and then pinch it in the center and put it together with a pipe cleaner or chenille stem, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to get 4 loops on each side. I actually didn't create 4 loops on each side. I had 4 on one side and 3 on the other. So I decided to take that center one, kind of fold it down a little bit, and then hot glue it into place so it would be the center loop of the bow. I haven't quite mastered using 2 types of ribbon to create a bow, so I decided to just cut down a few pieces of this buffalo check ribbon from Dollar Tree and glue them onto the bows just to give a little bit more texture and color to the bow. I'm using 2 more pieces of the thicker buffalo check ribbon. I'm going to dovetail the ends, which means I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to take my scissors and cut from the center down to the points, and that creates a nice little V in my tails. I'm then going to just hot glue them to the back of the ribbon. I also used a little dot of hot glue to pinch the ribbon together to give it a little bit more texture, and then I'm going to glue it onto the actual pipe cleaner stem on the back of the ribbon. I'm going to cut 2 more pieces of the buffalo check ribbon in the red and black, make some dovetailed ends on those, and then just glue them and tuck them right underneath the bow so I have 2 little red tails on top of the other ones. Since this is a really nice solid piece of wood, I decided to use my staple gun to attach everything to it. I'm going to put a few staples in each one, and I'm going to do 3 on either side, kind of placed in the same directions. And then I'm going to add the bow also with some staples. And then I'm going to add just a few little sprigs of boxwood and some berries in between the tails. My video today is part of the Santa's Travel Around the World Christmas collab that is hosted by Yanni and Diane. You can see here that we've got a bunch of amazing creators participating, so when you're done with my video, please go down to my description box or in my pinned comment and click on the playlist link. You won't want to miss anyone's videos. Yanni and Diane are a couple of amazing creators. They are from the Netherlands, and the projects that they come up with are absolutely gorgeous. Lots of little things, big things, you name it, they can make it. They've done some amazing Christmas DIYs. They also have all sorts of other decor ideas on their channel, so please make sure you go down to the description box, click on their channel, hit that red subscribe button, and show them some love. This second project is also a request from the same customer. I am using 2 of these stone pieces. These are left over from my fireplace when we redid the face of it. I'm going to use these as the bases for these stocking hangers because they're nice and heavy, and anything that gets hung on the stocking will stay put. I'm just going to give them one coat top to bottom with black chalk paint. Using some more pieces of scrap wood, I went out to my table saw and I cut out these tree shapes. I'm doing one tree with 3 sections and the other tree with 2 sections. I'm just going to give them a couple of coats of white chalk paint. Once they were dry, it was time to put all the pieces together. Of course, I'm using my Weld Bond glue because that is a permanent hold and it sticks to ceramic, tile, wood, glass, you name it. This is the all-purpose glue that you need for permanent projects. I needed to figure out a way that I could put the hook onto these stone pieces. I couldn't drill into the stone. So what I'm doing is just tapping a nail into these little blocks that come from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to screw in these eye hooks that I actually pulled apart with my needle nose pliers to make just some really nice sturdy hooks. I'm going to glue them to the stone pieces first, and then I'm going to go over it with some black chalk paint. And because her inspiration pieces were not distressed, I'm not going to be doing any distressing on these trees, but I still think they turned out absolutely gorgeous. If you enjoyed these projects today, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me get noticed on YouTube and helps my channel grow. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, hit that notification bell and click all, and then YouTube will let you know every time something new pops up on my channel. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.